The Sweet Sound of Success show is brought to you by the Mentor Studio. The Mentor Studio is an exclusive mentoring and training program for social influencers, business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, and startups, bringing personal development to the underserved around the world. And brought to you by Success Strategists. Simple strategies that work to develop your business with flow and ease using proven strategies and the right tactics. This is the Sweet Sound of Success with Sue Wilhite, Success Attraction Expert. Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis is President and CEO of the Executive Women's Success Institute. She's a 22-year Army veteran who retired after reaching the rank of Sergeant Major. She's the creator of the online course, Crack the Career Code. She's a host of Success for Women radio and TV show, an international best-selling author, an international TEDx speaker. She's a trainer, a career strategist, and a business consultant. She helps women progress in their career into upper management and executive level positions by providing them with a fast track yet comprehensive toolkit of life skills and abilities. Welcome, Dr. Madeline. I can't wait to hear about this.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have so much fun with your hero's journey. And for those of you who don't know, those of you who are listening who don't know what the hero's journey is all about, Joseph Campbell, Dr. Joseph Campbell, was a mythologist, and he studied the stories from all the cultures all over the world. And when I say all the cultures, I do mean all the cultures. If you've read any of his books, oh my goodness, he's visited pretty much everywhere in the world and gotten stories, some of them firsthand. And people told him stories that nobody else had ever heard before, not outside of that culture. So he noticed that there was a pattern to these stories, to these heroic stories. And he put together a 16-point cycle that described the hero's journey. And not all the points were in every story, but these were the common elements. I'm drilling it down to just 5 parts of the hero's journey, which are important for entrepreneurs. And those 5 points are the ordinary beginning. Nobody's ordinary. The call to action, what got you into this, the big hairy monsters that you got to play with and dance with and turn your back on, hopefully, and walk away. And then in order to do all of that, you had to have allies, mentors, coaches, friends, cheerleaders, folks who helped you through these parts of your life. And then Joseph Campbell talks about the journey home, which is also about your transformation doesn't necessarily automatically transform everybody else in your life. And so you're doing these wonderful things, and you're an entrepreneur, and you're doing these great things out in the world and changing people's lives, and other people think you're crazy. And so how do you deal with that? So, Dr. Madeline, what was your ordinary beginning?
Wow. My ordinary beginning, I would have to say it was the fact that when I started out in the military, I was in positions that were basically male dominated. And so I started getting promoted. I was getting promoted to the next rank, and a lot of women were noticing that. And you know how they say, you have to be careful because you never know who's watching you. Well, I didn't realize that I was being watched by so many women because they were looking at me. I don't even know if I should say role model, but maybe so, because then they started coming to me and wanting to know, hey, how can I do this too? So that started that was my ordinary beginning. And for me, I didn't even know it was happening, like I said, until the women started coming to me. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know what gifts you have until somebody points out, oh, by the way, not everybody's doing this.
Absolutely.
That's how you know it's a gift.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
what was your call to action?
Well, the call to action was that I just felt like, okay, if I can do this, I know that other women should be doing it too. So my call to action was the fact, like I said, women were coming to me wanting me to help them with their promotion packets, help them with mock interviews. And I thought, wow, I should do this on a larger scale. So that caused me to create my business so that I could help a lot more women and do it on a larger scale. And that was the call to action for me, knowing that women needed what I had to offer or what I was doing, needed me to show them what I was doing. So that's what I did. I created programs that could help them to do just what I did, but maybe not face some of the obstacles that I faced doing what I did.
Right. Wow. And you know what? It's so important for women to turn around and help other women.
Absolutely.
Because we're our own worst enemies.
Don't get me started on that one.
Yeah. You and I could talk about this forever.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I can well imagine, because I've had friends who are women who've been in the military. Mm-hmm. What were some of the probably quite literal hairy monsters?
Well, the hairy monsters the challenges, so to speak, was that, like I said, when you look around, there weren't a lot of women helping other women to rise up. And that's why one of the things that I always talk about is that you have to show up to rise up, because what we do have to realize as women, nobody is responsible for our careers. So we have to know that off the bat. But as females, we are responsible, I think, for helping other women up. When you get up that ladder, or when you get in a position where you can pull some women up, then I feel that should be done. But a lot of women, what I realized, I did research on this, and what I started hearing was sometimes women feel when they're in a high level position that they can't reach back and help too many women up, because it'll make it look like they're being, they're too much favoritism, in other words.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be shown as showing too much favoritism to women. And so that's why they don't do it. And I think that's a myth that needs to stop. Men don't have that problem. They certainly help, other men up. It doesn't matter whether they like the man or not, but if they can help that man up, then they do it. But women, for some reason, our mindset is that I can't help too many women up because I don't want them to think that I'm only pulling women up. Well, that's what you should be doing, pulling more of us up, because a lot of times if there's more of us in those higher level positions, some of the decisions that are made wouldn't be so, catastrophic. And you wouldn't have so many things going on, because we look at things, I think, with a much clearer head. And sometimes we figure it out from a different standpoint than men might do. So yes, you need to pull that woman up with you.
Right. And you want to create allies.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
If you don't help someone, if you don't help another woman, then it's not always, but you're possibly breeding resentment, jealousy, envy, It's like, well, why isn't she helping? She's got all this. Why isn't she helping?
And that's true. That's a true statement, because of a friend of mine, she was applying for a position, and her female supervisor knew that she was more than qualified, but the supervisor wouldn't give her a recommendation because she felt like if she did, it would look too much like favoritism. So she would not give her a recommendation, which I thought that was just one woman that wouldn't reach back and help another woman. That to me is what that was.
Well, what's the funny part is it is favoritism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you see potential in somebody and you reach back and you help them that little step to reach their potential, yes, mm-hmm. you're calling favorites on somebody who perhaps isn't quite there or mm-hmm. wouldn't necessarily succeed.
Exactly.
Yes, you're showing favoritism.
And I mean, you can't promote or put someone in a position that's not qualified. Right. But what you are saying is don't overlook that female because she's a female.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And if somebody does accuse you of favoritism, I mean, that's that whole language thing, right? So when women are assertive, they're labeled as aggressive.
Absolutely.
Et cetera, et cetera. I won't go into the whole.
And what I always say, I always tell women there are three things that we need to do to show up, to rise up. And the first is to build confidence. The second is to be assertive. And the third is to build a support network.
Right.
Those, I think, are three important things that we need to show up, to rise up.
Bingo. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So who were some of your allies and mentors and folks that helped you rise up?
I had, believe it or not, the first ally that I had, unfortunately, it was a male. And that's why I said I knew from my experiences that there weren't a lot of women that was helping other women. My first ally was a male. And from the advice that he gave me, and I was able to take this advice and implement it, was the reason why I was able to start moving and progressing the way I did. But again, I just felt like that advice that he gave me, although very good and very appreciated, I would have loved if it had come from a female, because there were one or two that was, up there that could have given me advice, but never did. And so, but I've always had coaches. I've always had supporters. I've always had mentors, because I feel like if you're going to be in any, if you want to move up in your career or be in business, you need to have, supporters. You need to have those allies. You need to have coaches, people that you can go to and bounce your ideas off of. So I've always had those things in as I progressed and continue to do what I do.
Yeah, I can't emphasize that more.
Yeah.
It's you got to have allies, you got to have coaches, you got to have somebody. You got to have somebody at your back who's helping.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So what about the resistance that you might have found? What about the quote unquote journey home? I always mangle this quote, but it's the prophet has no respect on his home turf, essentially. Was there anybody, or even not necessarily on your home turf, but were there those that, thought you were nuts for doing what you were doing?
Absolutely. There's always going to be people, and I guess that's just human nature, that's going to try and I guess blow out your light, so to speak, or dim your light. And I just always feel that you can't let those people stop you from what you're trying to do. And the reason why you can't is because you have a vision and your vision is larger than theirs. And a lot of times they don't see what you see because they can't see it because they don't think maybe as big as you think. And so that's why they will try to throw roadblocks in your way. They will try to tell you, oh, you can't do that. Oh, or why are you trying to do that? You know, what makes you think you can do that? And that's why I tell women all the time, don't listen to others and don't even listen to that little voice in your head that tries to make you think that you're not good enough or that you can't do it or what if I fail? So those are, I just feel like you have to distance yourself. Yes, you're going to get the haters. You're going to get those people that's going to try to stop you because they don't, like I said, they don't have the vision that you have. But you have to distance yourself from them. You can't let them stop you because I always say you should never give up. When you feel that there's something that you are trying for, that you're going for, a position that you see, you feel like you're qualified for, then go for it. Because, you know, statistically, I remember reading in a Harvard Business Review where it said men will apply for a position when they only have feel they have 60% of the requirements. Women won't do that. They will wait until they have 100% of the requirements. And so that's why I say you can't let those things stop you. And you can't let other people and how they feel about what you're doing stop you. So yes, I ran into a lot of that. You know, it's going to happen when you start doing things that other people aren't doing, but you just have to distance yourself and you have to have faith and belief that you can do what you set out to do.
Yeah. I call it being in a different theater in the movie,
yes.
the movie complex,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We're watching one version of Superman. You're watching a different version of Superman.
Absolutely. It's sort of like the glass being half full or half empty. We're both looking at the same glass, but we're seeing it in two different ways.
Right. Somebody has 3D goggles on and the other person doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for being on the show. And Dr. Madeline, I understand that in your philosophy, being absolutely consistent with who you are and what you're doing, you have something to give for my audience.
Yes, absolutely. I do. If they go to my website, which is www.exwsi.com, they can download my free 3-part video series on 3 things every woman should do to position herself for executive leadership.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So go to the website.
Mm-hmm.
If you missed it, rewind. You can see it on the screen. It will be in the after notes in the show. It will be in the show notes. No matter where you find this, the link will be there. I want to thank you again, Dr. Madeline. This has been a very inspiring. Oh, you and I could go on forever about.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me on your platform.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm delighted to have you. And thank you to my audience on the Sweet Sound of Success. What are your dreams for your business? You know what drives me crazy? Really smart business owners denying their talents because they've been taught it has to be hard, because they've been taught that they don't deserve their gifts, that they're not worth anything. They've been taught that their gender means they can't express their genius. I'm Sue Wilhite, and I want you to have access to your genius. I want you to go out and rock the world with your genius. So I created the Call to Action Coaching Program. It's all about getting to the heart of you and what you've got to share with the world to make a profitable business that thrives and allows you to make a difference in the world. Click the link to sign up for the Call to Action Coaching Program today. Don't let your genius go unnoticed.